Pilger. I'm the composer and lyricist of this production, and I also produce this reading. I just want to say a few words before we start. So the first thing is I wanted to thank many, many people because this would not have happened without all of these people. River, my brother back there, and the book writer of this show, just thank you so much for your collaboration and for live streaming and for doing so many other things to help out. Thank you so much. Jackie and Kelvyn, who are the director and the music director, I thank them for everything that they've done, and the cast. They've done such a good job. You're in for a treat tonight. They're all insanely talented, really good voices, really good actors. You're going to have a really good time watching them. My teachers, some of whom are in the audience, I've had so many teachers at Boco and Berkeley that have helped me learn a lot of really good things that helped me write this show a lot better. So thank you to all of you. Eliza, who's reading the stage directions, Ryland Bennett and Concert Services for helping us book this space and for providing concert services to us, to Laura Pernas, who's photographing for tonight. I didn't get to put that in the program, sorry. And Laura Nevitt, who is page turning for us. And finally, our families and our friends for bringing us into this world, supporting us, and allowing us to create this amazing art. Really, really quick, I just want to make sure we all know there are a few uncomfortable topics in this show. So this show deals with themes of abuse, themes of homophobia, and themes of transphobia. So if you feel the need to walk out in the middle of the show or at any point, that is totally fine. Take care of yourself, love yourself. Just make sure that you avoid this mic that's down there for the live stream. Just make sure to watch out for that as you're walking out if you need to walk out at any point. We really love and would value your feedback. So we have a suggestion box over there and some note cards for you to just write down some suggestions if you have any. You should also see on the back of your programs, there is a QR code that you can scan after the show to fill out a form and take a survey to tell us what you think. You don't have to answer all the questions, just any questions you want to answer. Any of them are helpful. And also we're going to have a Q&A after the performance. If you'd like to stick around, you don't have to stick around, but yeah, you can stick around after the performance and you can ask the cast, the creative team, any questions about process or give us feedback about the show, all that kind of fun stuff. And finally, we have some pronoun buttons on the table that you can take during intermission if you want to show people what your pronouns are. So anyway, thank you so much. Enjoy the show. Thank you all for coming, and yeah, have fun.
Scene 1. A bustling train station in Boston, Massachusetts. Our story begins with a young Indigo who is filled with high hopes and overstimulation.
Lots of Red Sox fans hopping on the green line, shouting so loud they always miss their stop. I hope I don't miss a beat. I hope I make ends meet on my own.
to wander around with her phone in the air. Indigo anxiously follows Terry back and forth like a duckling.
Wait for me. I've never been here before.
Hang on, I'm trying to focus and get us right back. Damn it, there's no service here. Stay right there. Don't get lost. I'll be right back.
Terry exits, still holding a phone in the air. A dance break ensues. Bostonians push past Indigo, who struggles to survive a bustling city sidewalk for the first time. City noises flood the scene with everyone in their own world. We start to see Indigo pulling inward, particularly when they accidentally bump into Bostonians. Bostonians shout at them to get out of the way, only to get pushed by another Bostonian. Everything becomes too overwhelming for Indigo, retreating.
Gotta get to work, gotta get to class. The tea might stop again. Busy all the time, never get a break. But I'm in my prime. Rent is higher than ever. Student loans pile up high. So get me to work and class, so they don't fire my ass in Boston. Which way is Boylston Street? Please don't steal my bags. I don't know where I live. What city is this? Where the hell is Terry? Terry, Terry, Terry. Should I ask for directions? If only I could. Should I ask that stranger for directions? No. Maybe that guy there? No. The police? They're busy. Maybe that kid there? No. They're lost like me. Lost.
Anything yourself. You always make yourself lost.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
There you are! Get back from in there. What are you doing down there? You're gonna get stepped on. I don't know. Alright, let's go. You're in a big city now. You gotta pick up the pace. Follow me so I don't have to drag you, huh? Majoring in English was not such a smart move. But now that you'll work in the office with me, you'll be so rich. Life will sail by. I know it's 9 to 5, but you'll survive. Forget about writing. I just know. You'll never have to think about writing your book in Boston. Everything we'll do will be with you when we are dancing around in Boston. See, it's not that bad. You're gonna do great here.
Right.
There's an indigo colored sky in Boston.
Boston.
between the living room and Indigo's new room divides the stage into two sides. Indigo's belongings are strewn across their bed, and they sit practically in the dark. Terry, Alex, and Dani drink and joke around together, a little too loudly in the living room. Indigo tries their best to ignore the rambunctious party happening just outside their door between unpacking and settling in.
Yo, dude, did you hear the new song? It's such a cool remix.
Oh shit, is the remix out already? We gotta hear it.
I'll pull it up. I saw you praying to God. He'd send you a sex angel. I walked up feeling your blood and knew that your juice was full. But he cuffed to the frame like Jesus on Good Friday. I lay here shouting your name. You better come out and play. Don't get your Bible and read me a verse. Netflix and chill with me, give me your curse. We're sinning all night. Get in my grill and turn off the light. Fire and brimstone. We're naughty and it's fire and brimstone. Send me down to fire and brimstone. I wanna feel your fire and brimstone. Send me down and get your fire and brimstone.
I'm going to hell!
Naughty and it's fire and brimstone.
Drag me down!
Send me down to fire and brimstone.
Send me down.
I wanna feel your fire and brimstone. Send me down.
Sounds like they're having fun out there. Maybe a bit too much fun. Somehow, it feels ironic that they're laughing. As if they're laughing at me, as if I'm...
Guys, watch
A
this.
heavily drunken Dani tries to balance a plate with one finger.
Fire and brimstone.
I'm going to hell!
We're naughty and it's fire and brimstone.
Drag me down, Satan!
Send me down to fire and brimstone.
Send me down!
Feel your fire and brimstone. Send me down.
You see this plate?
No.
This represents you.
I'm safe now. I'm safe now.
Broken and scattered across the floor.
Just a memory. Just a memory.
And you know whose fault that is? It's all yours. You made me do this to this plate. You made me do this to you.
I'm far away now.
This is your fault. You made me do this. You brought this on yourself. This is your fault. You made me do this. You brought this on yourself. You made me do this. You brought this on yourself. It's your fault. You made me do this. You brought this on yourself. It's your fault. You made me do this. You made me do this. It's your fault. You made me do this. You brought this on yourself.
I'm safe now. I'm asleep now. I'm asleep. Indigo hides in the bed beneath the covers, and the scene fades to black. Scene 3. Indigo is at work for the first time. Everything feels crushingly new and chaotic.
Please hold. Please hold. Please hold.
The mornings are great. Coffee at 6. Traffic at 8. Here by 9. Nothing new. Lunch at 12. Meeting at 2. Traffic at 5. Shit, I gotta drive. cozy in the bed sheets and get away from this familiar Everything's new. That's what I need. That's what I need. Isn't this fun? Isn't this nice? You look around and see gray walls twice. Isn't this neat? Isn't this great? Working till 5 in a tiny crate. I've never seen an expressionless face. I've never seen people work at this pace. I've never been to an icier space. I'm in an unfamiliar place, and I love it. What was that noise? What was that smell? What is that thing that we're trying to sell? I am here for a reason. I'm gonna do fine. Terry's the best. Well, when they don't drink wine. I think I'll take it a more vacant base. I think I'll work at a hastier pace. I think I'll make a new home in this space. I'm in an unfamiliar place, and I love it. Gossip in the hallings as you rinse and repeat. I just want to make myself cozy in the bed sheets and get away from this familiar place. Put the kids first, gotta get this first, gotta get those 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 first.
Hey, what are you doing?
Typing?
You know, what are you anyway?
What? What am I?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
the boss mentioned something about you, like I'm supposed to call you something. What was it? Some type of non-binary, gendary, some shit. So yeah, like what are you? Are you a boy or a girl?
The boss! Run.
Attempting to get a better look at Indigo, Oliver absentmindedly pushes himself too far off of his chair.
Oh my god, oh my god,
Oh my gosh! I'm so sorry. Sorry!
no, it's okay, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry. I say sorry too much.
It's a habit. It's a habit of mine too. Sorry for making you say sorry.
It's okay. I'm trying to be more confident. I don't know why I'm telling you that.
It's okay. I'm trying to be more confident too.
Oliver rolls back to his desk.
Lunchtime, finally!
That was too loud. I thought I was the only one who curls up into a ball, who
ties in a knot, and in my head the scenarios play.
Sing with me.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
No, I am.
No, it was me.
It was me.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry. Wow, you're awkward. Nobody knows how to chat with us, and they think we're a joke. Little do they know, most social situations have some major complications, like us not wanting to smoke. At least I think that's what they do on break. But now we found a friend who can proudly say, I'm awkward, and I think that that's okay. Maybe I can get through this job with you by my side. Having you there will quell the urge to run and hide. Let's eat lunch together every single day, side by side until we're old and gray. We're awkward.
Awkward.
Who cares if nobody talks to us except for you and me? Little do they know, we'll be friends until the end, and we don't mean to condescend, but they are not who we want to see. But now we found a friend who can proudly say, I'm awkward, and I think that that's okay. And now we can be awkward
Scene 4. Another day at the office. Jean, Oliver, Indigo, Terry, and the office workers quietly work at their desks.
Break time!
May I join you? Of course. Sorry, you first.
No, you first.
No, you.
This is never going to end, is it?
Never. So, how's your first week at the office going?
It's not too bad.
Oh. Good.
How do you do it?
Do what?
I mean, do you enjoy your job?
Well, not particularly, but that's all right. Why do you ask?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to pry. I'm just curious since there's so many people and none of them seem like, us. How do you fit in here?
Oh. Honestly, I don't fit in.
I'm sorry, Oliver. I didn't mean to make you feel bad.
Oh, no, that's all right. Actually, I'm fine with not fitting in with most of these people sometimes. They can just be so. Oh, I shouldn't be rude.
No, it's okay. I think I understand. Are you talking about Dean?
Well, he's one of them, I admit. I seem to be his favorite target, but it's okay, that's what I get for never building up the courage to stand up for myself. Not even as a fully grown adult. And to think, growing up, I told my parents I wanted to be a badass superhero, the rage of a dinosaur, with all the best superheroes combined. Look out. It's Oliver, the Dino Man! Claws and all! And there was a time when they believed in me, but look at me now. I sit at my boring desk and silently absorb everyone's harassment, no matter how much it hurts me. Awkward, isn't it?
I've never been good at standing up for myself either. I wouldn't have this job if it weren't for Terry sticking up for me. Actually, I wouldn't need to rely on Terry in the first place if I only had the courage to put my English degree to good use. But every time I sit down to write, the words just feel bland to me. I'd never make a living that way. I guess it's just not meant to be.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Maybe you're right. Maybe some of us just aren't meant to chase our dreams.
Hey, guess what?
What?
We have each other now.
Oh, you're right, Indigo. We're a team now.
We should make a handshake.
Oh, a handshake.
Yeah, isn't that what cool people do?
You're right, Indigo. That'd be so cool. How about we start with a high five? Okay. I'm gonna take this one so I don't.
Oh, hey, maybe not everything that involves physical activity.
Right. Let's just push our hair back and wave. That's cool, right?
I don't know. How does it look?
Okay. Oh dear. I think we'll just have to be our own type of cool.
That's it, Oliver. Our coolness scale is measured in awkwardness.
What?
That's not how you say hello.
Hello.
Really? What makes me so hard to talk to when all you do is talk to that junky freak over there?
I really don't know what you're talking about.
Shut up, of course you do. Don't what? You can't handle a little tap like that? What are you? A baby?
Shit, this is bad. This is so bad.
Dude, Indigo, you're really gonna get involved in their bullshit?
This isn't like you.
What are you trying to do to me?
Where have I seen this before?
Stop it, Oliver. It's not like I actually hurt you or anything.
Why does this feel so familiar?
You freak.
Quit crying. I haven't even touched you, little freak.
No!
Did you actually say something for once, freak? Don't worry, your precious Oliver's gonna be just fine.
I said no!
Alright, no need to act like such a...
Just stop it! Stop it! Enough! Stop! Just
Okay.
stop!
Okay.
Why are you doing this? Why would you do something like this? Why? Just stop!
Indigo, it's okay now.
Oh. Sorry, I just...
No, Indigo. Thank you.
You're thanking me.
Is everything okay out here?
Yes. Sorry, boss.
Setting my crown just might be new to me. The power of
this is new to you.
This is new to me.
What is new to you?
Good question.
What are your friends and your respect?
I don't know, maybe ask me no.
Just be aware that you matter too.
There's something wrong
Put
with me.
yourself first, whatever you do.
Why would I do that?
I hope I don't see you loving yourself even less from this.
At least he's thankful.
I think, just think about that.
Doesn't he know that this is new to me? He should move on and let me be. I can do so much more than watch his back. Maybe I'll stop and he'll cut me some slack when he finds that he needs me to help him. As for me, I'll be fine. This is new to me, and it's mine.
Scene 5. Office workers collect in Brett's small Boston apartment, partying the night away for the holidays. Indigo hesitates outside of the apartment door, preparing to attend a party for the first time in many years,
Just knock. All I have to do is knock, and
wildly flinging the door open.
Hey! Indigo! Come in, come in! Welcome to the annual office holiday party!
I'm at a party. A real party. I can't believe I agreed to this. Where's Oliver? Where's Terry? What am I going to
Hey everyone! Indigo made it! Yeah!
Yeah, we didn't think we'd actually come. Someone like you.
Stood up to a massive idiot like me? Yeah! Indigo's pretty unpredictable like that.
You'll be fine by yourself, right? You don't need my help.
I already told you back at the apartment, Terry. I'll be fine.
Just checking. Anyway, parties are fun. Just think of it like that when you start to get all nervous.
First, I actually show up to a party, and now Dean stands up for me. Is this really happening?
Parties are fun. Parties are fun. Parties are fun.
Indigo! I'm so sorry I'm late. I accidentally slipped in a massive puddle outside, so I was even later than I meant to be. I didn't mean to leave you here alone, and
I'm fine. It's fine.
well, Team Awkward is back together, so it's all fine now, right?
Right.
Did you ever imagine yourself at a party?
No.
Me neither. It's so exciting.
Yeah, it is. If I didn't know us any better, I'd say we're one of the cool kids.
We must perform the ultimate test.
3, 2, 1, go.
Ow! Oh, wow! Oh, so cool.
Totally.
Hey, Oliver! Whoa. Dude. You're soaked. Yo, Brett! Do you have a towel? Oliver's all wet.
Of course, follow me.
Is Dean being nice?
Yes, it's creeping me out.
Okay. I just don't get how she didn't tell any of us about it. It was too weird to be normal.
You can do this, Indigo. It's the perfect time to join in. You've already braved this party, Indigo.
Did she get set? I wonder why.
Maybe something happened.
Now that you mention it, maybe. This one time she skipped work for a week. Then she was jumpy and would hardly speak. Then it happened again and again. Even then the boss didn't care. But then it happened once more for a month. And suddenly, her stuff wasn't there.
Yeah, I really hope she's okay.
None of us really knew her too well, but she was sweet to everyone, even if she was shy. It's really too bad she left.
Now I took her job. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I didn't mean it like that, Indigo. We're happy to have you here.
Taps Indigo on the arm playfully. Indigo begins breathing a little faster.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I bump you too hard?
I'm fine. I'm fine. But I'm sorry about your friend. I hope she's okay too. Hey, dude. Didn't you know her the best out of all of us?
No, who? Have you heard about, what's her name? You guys, I told you her name was Ashlynn. Jeez, if you're gonna talk about her, at least remember her name. You guys are ridiculous. You're scaring poor Indigo over here. All right. Enough of that. Tell us what you know about.
What was it?
Aspen.
Yes, villain.
Dude, her wife is a awesome material. Oh, come on. Remember when you told us that? Fine, if you insist. I'll tell you what I know about Aspen. And I know bullshit here, I swear. I hate to say it, but honestly, I don't know why she left or where.
Oh, come on, man.
I don't believe you, dude. I'm sure any second you're gonna come back with a but. Sorry, but. And there is a but. She talked about her boyfriend like he's the king of all the Greek gods. But then I asked if I could meet him. Then she said no, as if that was odd. And she'd get angry that I brought it up.
That lady asked something angry?
Her name was Ashlynn. Yes, her. Angry with me, her friend, for just asking to hang out. Come to think of it, that was right before she disappeared for the first time. I gave up on her friendship after she ignored me. She wouldn't even answer the door when I visited her apartment. All of that worrying for her to come back and say, oh, I'm fine. Dude, stop. I think I get it now. We shouldn't be making fun of her.
All right, then what's your genius theory for this never-ending
No, I'm
mystery?
serious. It's not funny. From what you're saying, Aspen not wanting you to come over, her mysterious boyfriend, and her being that obsessed about him, but not wanting anyone to meet him. Don't you think she was abused by him?
What? You think so?
I don't know. Maybe not. Hopefully not. But that's all of the classic signs of abuse. At least I think, right? Like especially how skittish she was when she came back to work for the first time. Don't you think that's weird? And a little familiar? Okay, just forget it, guys. Some people are just jumpy like that. I'm sure she's okay. Maybe she just did hate coming into work.
Shoot, dude, I can't even laugh. I feel bad now. Maybe I should check on her.
I got Oliver, there. I see him, I promised to meet him. Oliver's over there. Okay, yeah. Bye. Stay calm, stay calm. Think of it just like it's a fictional story. It's someone else's story. It's just a story. It's just
Dean
a
approaches
story.
Indigo from behind, grabbing them by the shoulders and shocking Indigo into reality.
Whoa! Didn't mean to scare ya. Yeah. About that. Indigo, you gonna puke?
No, I'm fine. Just don't look at me, please.
Okay. I guess. I'm just gonna say what I want to say, and you can go back to your precious habit. I actually wanted to apologize for, being a jerk to you, like I was just now, and like since you showed up, because yeah, that wasn't cool. And when you got all serious with me the other week, oh my God, that was awesome, dude. You're pretty awesome. I mean, I really admire, like, how you did that and stuff. Did I make you cry? I probably did. I suck like that. Indigo, I was really mean, wasn't I? I'm really sorry.
Don't touch me!
Shit, sorry.
Indigo! Are you okay? I said don't touch me!
Dean! What happened to Indigo?
I didn't do it, okay? They just... you know what? Screw this shit. I didn't do anything, okay?
I'm fine. Don't look at me like that. Why are you all looking at me like that? It's not like I'm damaged or something. I wasn't abused or anything as a kid, if that's what you're thinking. Y'all are thinking that, aren't you? Lee and you, Matty and Jordan, or how about you, Brett? Oliver? Well, don't get ahead of yourselves. I might be a little scared of people slamming their fists, but I'm totally fine, and I'm gonna be okay. I'm totally fine.
Hey. You don't have to explain yourself. Let's get you home. You're clearly not fine.
Stop it! I said I was fine.
Indigo, I just want to help.
You heard them all, Oliver. There's no reasoning with them once they're like this. I've been friends with Indigo for years now. Let them go.
Maybe there's something wrong with me. It's an easier thing to ignore. But I don't think it's normal to cry on the floor. Aspen is someone new to me. When I picture her, I see my face. But that doesn't mean I am taking her place. I'm fucked up.
stumbles on stage, panting and holding a stack of papers.
Hey everyone, I have my portion of the report. Sorry it's so late. Who am I kidding? Of course it's still going to feel awkward between all of us. I know now. I need to be fixed. But how?
Indigo! I was worried when you didn't respond to my texts and, well, did I do something wrong?
No, of course not. I've never done a presentation before. It'll be fun. Don't worry about me. I'm fine.
Okay. I'm nervous too. I understand.
Nervous? No. I'm just...
Yo, Indigo! Glad you made it. We're gonna go in a minute.
Okay.
Oh dear, okay. You aren't okay. We're team awkward, remember? You don't have to hide your worries from me, Indigo.
We want to go to the bathroom. I was just about to say I'm going to go to the bathroom before the meeting so I won't have to leave in the middle of it. I'll be back.
All right, we're as ready as we'll ever be. Remember, this guy is all business. Terry, turn up the AC so no one dares fall asleep.
You got it, boss.
Where is that Indigo kid? Has anyone seen her?
Them.
Right. Well, they have better turn their damn report in. Dean, make yourself useful and grab everyone's reports off my desk. I'm already doing you all a favor by doing this presentation myself.
It's all good, dude. You know we appreciate you. I mean, how else would we get paid and stuff?
Well, I'll give you credit for trying.
Damn, I can't believe I sucked this bad at being nice.
Dean turns towards the boss's desk, freezes in horror once he realizes there are many different stacks of papers.
Shit. Hey, boss! Which stack of which stack on your desk disaster is the right stack? Kinda important, you know. Oh, hey, here's Terry's. I'm taking this one.
Dean picks up the stack on the opposite side of the desk from Indigo's report, exiting. Scene 7. In the meeting room, the boss stands in front of multiple charts, holding up a report and reading from it. The boss has a growth chart and references a wiggly graph line that suddenly shoots its arrow impossibly high at the end.
See the end of this chart here? What do you think of her beautiful lines, Mr. Richman?
You tell me, boss.
Well, this is the difference our marketing would make. But this isn't even our best business model. No, this is at the lowest level of our support.
The boss dramatically flings the chart away and pulls an even more ridiculous chart with a piece of paper taped above it to show an arrow that extends into infinity.
This is the top quality we could offer you, proven by our last client's model.
Hell yeah, that's my chart.
Well, next we have,
Show me the finances.
Okay. Yes, Indigo's part. That should be next, right, everyone?
The boss nervously shuffles through reports, knocking some on the floor.
Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Richman. I'm sure the report's here, right, Indigo?
Right.
So, where is it?
It's genuinely not here. Indigo, I turned it in.
Oh, this can't be happening.
Are you that embarrassed? I've never seen you like this.
Sorry, John. It's not here, but I'm sure Indigo did it. Maybe I accidentally dropped it, or...
Wow, that's awkward for you. Am I wasting my time here?
No, John, no. I'm confident it's all going to work out. I have it practically memorized. Indigo just put it together nicely yesterday for you to take home, and we must have forgotten to bring the professional copy today, but, hang on, sorry. I'll just show it to you in my personal notebook. Excuse my handwriting. Yes, here it is. So here are the finances.
just gonna let it slide? I want to know the people I'm paying have control over their own offices.
You're right. Indigo, leave.
What?
Indigo, I said leave this meeting room.
They're not lying. I saw them bringing their report. You saw them bringing it too, right, Oliver?
Now don't tie Oliver up in your impulses, Dean. If Indigo fumbled such an important responsibility, it's their job to be honest. So I'm waiting. What do you have to say for yourself, Indigo?
Don't crumble. Be strong. Gotta give it another try. I stayed up all night editing the reports. It would be perfect, boss. I wouldn't let you down like this. It has to be there.
Really? Really? Well, how come it's not here then, huh? How dare you lie to me in front of all these people? Leave!
No, that's not so
You
cool.
too, Dean! Sit down, Oliver, or we'll be in big trouble.
Nicely handled, even though I'm surprised you didn't fire anyone. I'll let it slide. Now on with it.
Yes, right. Finances. Indigo's part.
The boss looks over at where Indigo exited from guiltily. The scene fades to black. Scene 8. Later, at Indigo's desk, Indigo mutters in a manic anxiety.
Oh my god, am I losing my mind? I turned in the report, right? Am I forgetting things now too? How much more do I have to fix? And Oliver, he didn't stand up for me. After all that talk about standing up for yourself too, well, look where that got me, Oliver. God, I should have taken the blame. I probably was to blame.
Indigo, this isn't your fault. That guy's being a massive dick!
Dean, you stood up for me? I appreciate it. But why? I mean, I'm sorry, that was rude.
Hey, it's all good. Dean here, ready to cover anyone's ass anytime, especially when they're cute and they...
Cute?
Shit. I guess since it already slipped out of my stupidly big mouth. I don't do this a lot. Saying savvy shit, even when I smoke pot. I just want you to know why I'm rooting for you. Wait before you go. I've been watching you, dude. Sometimes you get mad, yeah, like one of your moods. When your cheeks turn bright red, or you laugh a little, it messes with my head. What I'm trying to say is I think I really like you a little. Yeah, it's just a little. All the time my mind's been shouting, Indigo, Indigo, Indigo. Just a little. This has gotta be weird. Bet I look like Jane Fonda growing a beard. But imagine my heart when I saw you were a wicked work of art. What I'm trying to say is I think I really like you a little, maybe even love you. Every time I see you, I want to shout, Indigo, Indigo, Indigo. Just a little. Maybe I made things worse, like I always do. You're still standing there. I tried to help you. Guess I can't help you.
Wait, Dean. I'm sorry. I don't feel that way.
What? I'm not lying. Hang on, listen to the rest. I've got more to say because you're pretty cool.
No,
And
that's not it. It's just... I'm asexual and aromantic.
well, I'm straight. I've never liked another gender except women before, but Even if I like you, I'm still straight. Maybe you can make an exception too, you know?
Dean, that doesn't make sense. I really don't feel romantic or sexual attraction.
What do you mean you don't feel it? I thought you were one of those gay people.
No. I'm asexual and non-binary. That doesn't mean I'm gay. You mocked my gender the day we met, remember?
No, you got me all wrong. I accept you, I don't...
This can't work. I've never defied people like you until we met, and I'm already starting to hear all of the thoughts in my head chiming in to tell me I'm terrible for it, but I'm going to keep standing up for myself from now on. So I can't accept your confession. And I think your transphobia and homophobia is a major problem if you're going to try to confess to someone like me who...
Dude, what the fuck? You're not even gonna give me a chance to tell you how I feel?
But that's not the point. It's just... Forget it, Dean.
Yeah, I think I really like you. A little. Yeah, it's just a little. I fucked up.
Indigo,
I don't want to talk, Oliver. I've had an awful time.
I know, and I'm sorry. I tried to...
You didn't try to do anything. What happened to your dreams? Huh? Aren't you supposed to become Oliver the Dino Man? Why do you just give up when it's time to finally reach your potential?
Dude, doing that thing where you're super stressed and being kind of a jerk to everyone else because of it, Oliver didn't do anything wrong.
Terry, you're right. I am super stressed. And I don't need more stress right now from an overprotective babysitter. Let us talk alone.
I'm just looking out for you. Indigo, please, before you go, just hear me out. Standing your ground is very new to you. Bet you don't know it's new to me too. I don't know how to rise up in defiance. As you could see, I stood there in compliance. Every time I think of a clever retort, too late. What happened to your ship council? What happened to loving yourself? I still hear you sit, letting me take it. Now even the floor is wondering how I'm gonna make it. So I think it would be best if I just leave.
Indigo exits in one direction. Oliver exits in the opposite direction. The boss enters, tossing the meeting reports onto her cluttered desk. She analyzes the mess of both the desk and the situation at hand.
Why would Indigo do this? I really thought they had it covered. That's right, didn't they finish it early yesterday? And
She notices Indigo's report.
wait, is that, oh no. Terry, get over here.
What's up, boss?
Hurry, Terry, run this over to the Mr. Richman's assistant, quick. Indigo's report was here, after all.
Crap! Mr. Richman just left. I better run.
Damn it. And I better apologize before my dignity kicks in. I can't believe we missed it here after all of that. Indigo! Hello. I just found your report, and what? No, you're not fired. Don't apologize. I'm the one trying to apologize to you, kid. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Listen, I made a fool of myself, and I owe it to you. You did a good job. Terry ran your report to Mr. Richman in time, just before we left. The deal's still up in the air, so I'm sure he'll look it over at home to seal the deal thanks to that report. Yes, really. So, hey, how about you take a week off on me? Yeah? All right, see you in 10 days. Stop apologizing. Okay. Bye.
The boss hangs up with a sigh, and the scene fades to black. Scene 9, disheveled and depressed, Indigo sits in their room alone. Terry enters the apartment through the living room, knocking on Indigo's bedroom door.
Yes. Indigo, aren't you coming with me to work? We're gonna be late.
No, I'm staying home. I'm taking a vacation.
What? No, you can't do that with all this tension. The boss will fire your ass and then we'll be stuck going back home to...
Stop. It's gonna be fine. The boss gave me time off probably to keep me from going to HR and complaining.
Oh, well, I only want to look out for you. This is your chance to make a life for yourself. And I believe in you. Otherwise, I wouldn't even bother going to such lengths to get you a job and room in my apartment. I'm just worried about you. I want to make sure you don't blow it and get fired, you know?
Well, what about you and your job? It's 10 minutes past the time we usually leave. You're gonna be late if you don't leave now, Terry.
Right, okay. I'll be home around 7. Take care.
I'm fucked up. Can you all see that I'm fucked up? Now my luck's up, and to think I had said all the right things. Everything stings. I need to be fixed. I'm not getting fixed. I'll never be fixed. You know, I know, they know. Don't they? Don't they? They do, they do, they do. I'm 25, aren't I? Barely alive, aren't I? And to think I had made all the right moves. What can you do for this quarter of a century? I've done it all wrong, wrong all along. Now my English degree and my journey to Boston have led me to fuck up my half-decent life. What a quarter of a century. For a quarter of a century. I've dealt with my fucked up antics. I've cried when I should have smiled. I still hear you sit, making me frantic. Can't complain, this is the Ritz compared to before. So why else would everything go to shit? I need to be fixed. This time is just like the time when I came out. And I had no one, not even my family, not even my friends in that dingy town. But now I finally have, well, do I still have anyone? I miss writing stories. I miss pouring my heart out onto the page. But you know what?
They suddenly perk up, strutting over to their dresser and start throwing things out of it.
Screw business. Screw my incapabilities. Screw it all. I'm gonna sit down and write.
They finally pull out a worn notebook and a pen and sit down with them at the desk.
Write until I feel better. Write until your rotten words vanish from my head. right no matter how long it takes. Well, what the hell do I write? Well, when in doubt, write what you know. Oh, how about the main character is a regular old guy who leaves his hometown.
Hell yeah, my time to shine. I'm just a regular old guy walking down the street and...
Well, no, not a guy.
Oh, damn it, never mind.
Non-binary person. A non-binary person gets lost in the woods, struggling to evade a pack of wild and hungry transphobic monsters. Oh, too cliche and obvious. How about there once was a human who lost their way, stumbling, traveling through the Milky Way, wandering upon an equally lost star. They finally discovered who they are. No, stupid, too short. Here we go. Fairy tale about two estranged friends who finally meet again and... No. Non-binary cow that hates the grass everyone else eats and... No. A duck that falls into the wrong pond and... No. A manatee that flops like a duck. What am I saying? No. Or... a rabbit. There once was a rabbit so gray, their colony pushed them away. They hide in the depths of their shame, because their color was gray, but gray was also their name. The other rabbits would say,
Rabbits like you should be strict.
so gray didn't trust their ways.
Be quiet, submissive gray.
The angry rabbits would say,
Poor little gray.
the others would say,
Poor little gray had lost her way.
but gray would hop to their feet when they'd fall, until they could find that their fears became small.
We see that dominant strong. We know the submissive are frail, and anything else is so wrong.
The angry rabbits would wail,
But where do I belong? If only dominant strong and it's female versus male. Then I'm just as gray as my tail. And none of this is my song. All of this is bullshit!
shit. I can't write that. That's in a children's book. Let's try this again.
And none of this is my song. These silly boxes are wrong. Poor little gray.
The others would say,
Poor little gray.
quickly fading. Rushing to the door, Indigo is greeted with a weighty hug by their aunt.
Oh, sweetie, so good to see you.
Oh, Auntie, I didn't know you'd be here so soon. I wouldn't have cleaned up.
Oh, I know how you are. Don't you worry.
I guess so.
Oh, honey, you don't look like that. You know I love you.
I do.
So I heard a little rumor that my niece wasn't too good in good old Boston, huh?
Oh, Auntie, please don't worry about me. I don't want you to travel so far. And I can take care of myself.
New York isn't all too far away, you know. Not when you're used to all that hustle and bustle.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, something really is wrong, huh? Now go on, tell your auntie everything. I'm here to take care of you, at least while I'm still here on business.
Okay. I can try.
Oh, don't just try, I insist! Tell me your woes! Go on now.
It started off a little rough at this job. There's a guy there, a classic bully at first glance. But I've come to find out it's more of a front. Well, the good news is I've made an incredible friend. His name is Oliver. But now we aren't on good terms either.
You always did have trouble making friends.
Auntie.
Oh, ignore your silly auntie. I'm just teasing. Go on, continue.
Oliver and I had a minor disagreement, and I probably deserved it somehow, but my boss blamed me for a mistake I didn't make. Oliver didn't back me up. Actually, the bully guy did.
Sounds like he likes you. Maybe you should date him.
What? Auntie, he's a bully. Besides, I'm asexual.
Now, don't deny a man his pleasures. It never gets you anywhere. You can trust your auntie on that.
That's not how things should be anymore. I didn't do anything wrong, right? I should be allowed to reject anyone.
To each their own. Now this mistake. Were you having one of your little worry outbursts about things again? Just as I always tell you, you're simply overthinking things too hard. Every time you're left on your own, this happens, you know. You're one of those people who needs your family.
I am capable alone. I'm trying my best. I didn't finish telling you something I'm finally accomplishing, something I'm finally proud of. And I did it alone, without anyone here to help me. It's not all bad news.
All right, fine. I just still don't understand why you left home, but we'll get to that later. Finish telling me your story.
Right. Well, I can prove to you I can handle this. I might not have believed it before, but all of these people leading me away from writing.
Oh, not this writing thing.
Haven't realized how much it helps me heal. And there's promise this time. Remember Jerry?
Oh, Terry! Of course I know Terry.
No, Jerry. He was another friend from college. Another English major. He really believed in me, Auntie. And he ended up in a New York publishing house just a few blocks away from you. I told him once I gained confidence in my stories, I might send them to him one day to publish.
Well, wouldn't it be nice if life just worked out that way? But you were the one who admitted it yourself. You're just not cut out for that hotshot life. Unless you're the type to make it big, you'll never make money to support yourself. Artists die clutching to their silly dreams.
It's not just a silly dream anymore, it's... Well, here, you can read it.
Indigo confidently hands their notebook to the aunt. She begins to read Indigo's new story.
What is all of this?
A new story from my children's collection. One I'm really proud of this time. I'm hoping you will be too.
What?
What's wrong?
You're asking me what's wrong? You can't be serious, are you?
Well, yes.
I'm making a statement like this. Your obsession with abuse finds its way into every page of all of society's traditions are abusive and cruel. No one will want to read this to their children, and besides, I know what this is really about.
What do you mean? It's a fictional children's story. It's just a story.
I suppose you think we're mean, perhaps unreasonably cruel, and I suppose you think this book you paid for school. Well, how dare you write a book that mocks your family on every page? Imagine our embarrassment if it got on the national stage. How would you sleep at night? Like a baby? I remember every night when you were just a little girl. I'd sing you right to sleep while the music box would twirl. You're the itsy spider washed out from all the rain. Let me help you climb right up the spout again. Climb right up the spout, oh won't you climb right up the spout? I'm here! Don't you know how much I love you? Don't you know what coming home would do? Don't you know you're burning inside? Don't you know you're trying to hide? Writing that cute little book. Don't you know how much I worried? I've had pains ever since you scurried. Bet you that hadn't crossed your mind. Come home with me if you'd be so kind. Don't you know we're all expecting you? Don't you know? Don't you know? Don't you know? Don't you know?
The aunt reaches out her hand to Indigo. Indigo reluctantly grabs her hand. The aunt drags Indigo off stage. Scene 10. Indigo returns to their childhood home, resorting to their old ways. They have completely shut down as they absent-mindedly wash dishes in the kitchen. Suddenly, they begin to furiously scrub a plate.
I was wrong to try to live on my own. I'm just a no-good, incompetent freak. At least things have been quiet. Too quiet, especially for this house, but still quiet.
Indigo accidentally clangs two dishes together. They gasp, looking behind them in pure horror. Realizing they are alone, they breathe easily again.
I don't have to watch my back here. I don't have to watch my behavior here. I don't have to be somebody I'm not here. Right?
Indigo slides down the kitchen cabinets to the floor, burying their head in their knees. They picture the relative.
That's right. You're smart to be watching your back. What the hell, are you still crying? You absolutely...
No! It's Indigo! My name is Indigo. It's easy to remember, isn't it? I'm so basic of a fact about me. So why don't they care enough about me to remember my name? These scathing memories of you have only gotten stronger here. When are you coming home?
Indigo stands, lifelessly returning to the dishes. Suddenly, a door slams in the distance. Indigo jumps, but this time, their fears are verified. They spot the relative off stage.
Oh, welcome home.
Is that you? Oh, you're back, are you? What did I tell you? You always come crying back to me, don't you? What, don't believe me? Let me guess then. You disrespected this household, no surprise. So you ran away to some fancy city. That much I already knew. You probably got some crappy job somewhere, but no matter how shitty
so right?
Speak clearly when I'm talking to you.
I could easily stand up for Oliver, but why can't I do the same for myself? Especially not when it matters the most. And I yelled at him for neglecting me, but really I was neglecting myself.
Hello?
Why am I going along with this?
You really want to do this right now? I know you're one overly pathetic piece of shit. Don't make me raise my voice at you.
That's right. This is abuse. If I hadn't endured enough abuse already, when will it ever be enough for me to say no?
You really are just a...
I didn't get fired. I didn't get fired. I'm on paid vacation. I'm a good worker, even when I have my, troubles.
Ah, that again. You just need to get a taste of reality. Always absorbed in your own little bubble and the first to cry.
About that,
This is the real world.
I have something to say to you.
I'm waiting.
Well, I have been thinking a lot.
Oh, well, that's the last thing this family needs. Your aunt tells me you're up to your stories again. Don't let people know I have some psycho-delusionist living in my home. You hear me? You're not abused. You're fine.
I'm not fine.
What? We just went over this.
I'm not fine. I've never been fine, especially not around you.
Don't raise your voice to me.
I'm not going along with this any longer. Fire and brimstone. Everything was fire and brimstone. Lie after lie after thread after thread. You tell me God would never forget all the sins I must atone. Fire and brimstone. It was always fire and brimstone. Never I love you or baby don't cry. Every day I'd wonder why with you there I'd feel alone. It must have been all the lectures, all the stalking, all of the pressure and tantrums and spankings and bruises, black eyes, broken bones, and you told the doctors I fell. Well, good news. Not that you'll care, but I made a new friend. His name is Oliver. He knows how to be there. Something you can't comprehend. Fire and brimstone, consuming me with fire and brimstone. I can slap on my shoes. I can pay my own bills. I can dress how I dress, talk when I want.
back in their apartment. Their head is bowed, but they look at themselves in the mirror. With hesitation, they finally look at themselves.
Indigo? Indigo, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I made you wait so long. I can't stop asking why I put up with it now that I'm not at home any longer, now that I'm never going back. I understand why I felt like I had to, but I abandoned you, myself, in the process. Even though I was made to think this way. Made to grow up and think I had to deny my feelings, deny my overwhelming and never-ending stress, deny my severe anxiety, deny my gender, and deny everything else that made me love myself. Until there was nothing left. Your new identity became what your abuser made of it. You were forced to succumb to their perceived power just to mentally, emotionally survive. But there is no true power in forcing another human being to grovel in unnecessary suffering, watching them scramble for the last few scraps of their humanity. There's no power in taking health and strength and sanity away from another person, denying them their right to live freely. So, Indigo, I promise that I will fight to regain my strength one step at a time. It may take years or my whole life to recover from this outside damage, but I will never stop trying, and I won't deny myself help anymore. I also promise that I will send my stories to Jerry, that I won't give up on writing, even if his publisher doesn't end up accepting it, because your writing has promise. You have promise. I promise I will write to my heart's content at a new job, somewhere I'll be happy to work, somewhere my thoughts will hold values through my stories. But not to worry, Indigo, you don't have to abandon Oliver either. Him and I will work things out. Not all arguments have to end in traumatic battles. Something I'll have to get used to. Which reminds me, I need to tell Oliver how right he was. One last thing. I want you to know, no matter how much you've felt like you've screwed your own life up, need to be fixed, or caused this to happen to you, none of this is your fault. And I am not fucked up. Even if my situation is, or my symptoms feel like it, it's not who I am inside. I'm just Indigo.
With a smile, Indigo exits. Scene 12, a goodbye party for Indigo at the office.
All right, everyone, I'd like to make a toast to Indigo's last day. To Indigo. And I'm happy to say there's more exciting news to toast for. I spoke with Mr. Richman this morning about coming to his final decision on working with us. And upon rereading the reports, using Indigo's piece of the project this time, he accepted. Indigo, thanks for all of your hard work here. The office is a team, and we are so grateful for your contributions here.
Thank you so much.
Here you are. I can't believe you're really going through with this. I thought this job, getting away from home and staying in Lama,
whole thing I said, before you left. I really thought I wasn't being as much of a jerk before, but I guess that's not saying much for me. But I still don't know what I did wrong. I didn't think I hurt your feelings enough to make you quit, so.
Oh, no. That's not it at all. I found a job in writing, something I've always wanted to do. Actually, Dean, I wanted to thank you.
Yeah, how hilarious.
I'm not joking. I wanted to thank you because, well, I know you're trying to be kinder with your words now, but if you hadn't said so much to me when we met, I wouldn't have learned to stand up for myself so strongly. I gained a lot of confidence in myself. Thanks to you.
Thanks for teaching me to stop being such a total asshole to stop being such a bully. See you around. Maybe.
Dean, wait. I was thinking. Let's be friends.
Yeah, friends.
No, I'm not. I thought I'd finally found someone to share this experience with. I thought you were just going to go on a quick vacation and we'd make up. Not that you'd come back just to say you're changing jobs. Damn it. I'm being selfish. I know this is an amazing opportunity for you.
Actually, Oliver, I wanted to talk to you. You know how Terry's living style doesn't exactly match up with mine, to say the least? Which means I'm looking for a new roommate. And, well, I know you might like living by yourself, but maybe we could get an apartment together? Like a long-term best friend sleepover? So that, Team Awkward could reunite, stronger than ever. But only if you want, and...
Oh, of course! Of course I want to! I'd love to! Indigo, I'm so sorry. I thought you would never call me your best friend. After what I did,
No, it's not your fault.
I wanted to stand up for you just like you did for me, but the moment came on so fast and I'm just so painfully awkward that, well, I was just too scared, too soft, too...
Oliver, that's not true. And you don't have to explain or put yourself down for being anxious, especially not to me. I actually wanted to thank you. If you had stood up for me, I might not have gotten out of this whole... I haven't ever told anyone this, but you are my best friend. So, there's something I want to share with you. It's not just you I haven't told. I haven't even been honest with myself about this until this week. It feels weird to say out loud, but growing up, my household was very abusive. I was in a low last week, so I took up the boss's offer to take a vacation. Probably the worst thing I could have done was to use that time to go back home. course, that's what I ended up doing. I just didn't know where else to go. Just like you're saying, I thought I was too awkward, too incompetent to be on my own. I was convinced that I had to rely on my family, that I wasn't good enough.
Indigo. Of course you're good enough. You always inspire me to feel stronger in myself. And one day I'll get to where I want to be too. Actually, here I have something for you.
What's this? An IOU? Oliver, you don't owe me anything.
No, not just that. Look at my stick figure drawing.
Oh? Sorry. What is that exactly?
Look! The power of all the best superheroes. Vicious claws, and he's breathing fire! It's an Oliver the Dino Man! I owe you!
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. Thank you, Oliver. Well, I wish I could have used this when I went back home. Of course, things hadn't changed, but in the worst of it, I remembered what you said.
What I said.
Why, yes, the wise words of Oliver the Dino Man himself.
Oh no, this is just getting embarrassing.
I mean it though, Oliver. You told me that if I could stand up for you, I should start to stand up for myself. So for the first time in that household, I did. And even though I have a long way to go, I have never felt better, Oliver. Thank you. So much.
Oh, Indigo. I am so proud of you. I could just...
Come on, let's face my last day of work here and the start of many more days of friendship.
Yes, let's... Together.
After several months, hopping on the green line, now I can see the city's not so bad. I might have been scared and lost, but now I know there's a cost when you try flying high. I can see the past won't hold you back when you are writing your book in Boston.
Everything you do, you'll always cherish all the chances you took in Boston. Even though this might not be the life you had planned, there's an indigo color sky in Boston.
Q&A in a few minutes. Thank you everybody for coming. for sticking around. We'll try to make this nice and short because I know that this performance went for a while. So thank you all for sticking around again. So we're just looking for questions like about the process, about about like the writing of the show, the rehearsal process. If you have any feedback that you want to share, we'd also be open to that. So is anybody going to take the first stab at a question?
Anybody itching?
Anybody? Something scintillating in the mind? Anybody? Yes.
Why did you write it? Just why?
Just why did we write it?
No.
Every question is a good question. I was telling people that in rehearsal too. But yeah, so the reason why we wrote it is I identify as non-binary.
I'm a trans guy, and so we both wanted to write stories that relate to the LGBTQ community, and we felt this was the perfect time and opportunity to feature a non-binary lead role.
Yeah, I also feel like as a non-binary theater practitioner, I really don't see myself represented in a lot of shows. So I just figure, well then, I just need to make that representation if it's not out there. You know, so that's why we wrote this show. Yeah. Any other questions? I thought yes.
Oh, I have two actually. One, why is there a reason that you left the relative unspecified? Like you didn't say it was like an uncle or a parent or anything like that.
Sure.
Yeah, we wanted to be relatable in a weird way. That sounds weird, but relatable for people who had experienced abuse, so that it wasn't tied to a particular gender. And a lot of the roles in the show actually are not tied to a particular gender. Like they don't name pronouns ever. Only a few roles have pronouns. But with all of the authority figures, we wanted to leave them named like the boss or the relative or the aunt, and they didn't have a name because the focus was on Indigo and not on like the authority figures that were suppressing them as a person.
Yes.
Any particular reason why you chose a rabbit?
No, that was just something I thought of.
It's on the Dauber cover, and it was prominently on a chick. They had a necklace on that was a rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's cool about rabbits, fun little fact, they are one of the many few animals who don't actually develop sex organs until they're about like 6 to 8 months. Fun fact. So when people get like baby rabbits, they're like, I don't know. It's like, it's because it's a construct. Just saying it fits.
Can you say what you did on the project?
Oh, I'm Jackie. I'm the director. Sorry, I'm not just a weird person.
I just realized I completely rolled over the intro part of this. Can we just go around real quick before we take more questions and just name and what your role in the show was and pronouns. Okay.
Hello, I'm Kim. I played Oliver, who uses he/him pronouns, and I use she/her pronouns. I think that's it.
Yep.
I'm Tim. I played Dean, and I use he/him pronouns.
I'm Andrea. I played the relative and Matty and Alex for one line. I use she/her pronouns.
Yes, you did.
Hi everybody, I'm Evie. I play Indigo and we both use they/them pronouns.
Dope. Hi guys, I'm Eliza. I read for stage direction. Not to brag. And I'm she/her pronouns.
Hi, I'm Emily. I was the music video star, and my pronouns are she/her/hers.
Hi, I'm Chloe. I was the aunt, and I use she/her pronouns.
Hi, I'm Blake. I'm the composer, lyricist, and producer, and I use they/them pronouns.
Hi, I'm River. I'm the book writer, and I use he/him pronouns.
I'm Jackie. I'm the director, and I use they/them pronouns.
Kelvyn, I'm the music director, and I use he/him pronouns.
I'm Lama. I play Terry, and I use she/they pronouns.
I'm John. I played May, and I use he or she pronouns.
I'm Lowell. I played Mr. John Richman, and he/him.
I'm Sydney. I played Jordan, and I use she/her pronouns. I'm Holly, and I played the boss, and I use she/her pronouns.
Great, thank you. Yes,
Cool.
sorry, thanks for bearing with us while we did that out of order. Any other questions from anybody else? Yes.
Hello. I'm asking you this question as a person who's a fellow theater writer trying to write works that are trans inclusive, open to variations in casting. I was wondering if you could talk about any of the technical challenges you had with writing for specific vocal ranges or different gender presentations, because I'm running into that challenge myself.
Oh yeah. Oh, you better
Great
believe
question.
I also ran into that challenge. So yeah, and this is like a point of contention I had with my musical theater writing teacher David, who's in the audience here. Also, I had this like with my teacher Jonathan, and it's just been it's really hard to figure out. But actually, what I noticed was that when we got into rehearsal, because I had originally written this, like I just kind of wrote Indigo's part and some other parts. Like I just kind of wrote it thinking of my voice and like what my voice does, and I was thinking, well, whoever we get, we'll just adjust. So like either we could transpose or like just place octaves or things like that. So that's what I was thinking I could do. So then we got Evie, who has a totally different voice type from me, so we had to transpose a few things, and it was actually, I was really nervous about it because transposing, of course, like it gets really quickly into muddy piano territory. Like if you transpose too low, then everything just kind of gets really muddy because all the notes are kind of in the same really low, thick, muddy texture. Versus if you go too high, kind of thing. So that's the thing I was worried about. So, but it was actually easier than I thought to adjust the accompaniment. And now I feel like I have two options. For if there are people with different ranges, I have an option in one key and an option in another. And I'm going to have to just orchestrate both of those different ways. So that's kind of how I've navigated that. But I don't have the perfect answer for how you would do it like otherwise, but it is a really good question. I think it just depends on your process. I think it depends on how open you are to changing the keys and to displacing octaves and things like that. So yeah, really good question. Thank you.
What was the largest transposition that happened for this run when we became Indigo?
I think it was what was it? It was one that was a major third down. Oh, it was minor third down. Fire and Brimstone was originally written a minor third higher. The Fixed was originally written a whole step higher. And New to Me, same thing, whole step higher than what it became. So.
And Awkward.
And Awkward, yes. Awkward we had to transpose a whole step lower too. So it actually was easier than I thought to go into finale and kind of just readjust the notes and then just send it out. I was genuinely surprised. So yeah, really good question. Thank you. Any other questions?
I just wanted to also have an addendum to that answer. Do you mind talking about quorum just a little bit? Because I feel like when talking about voice parts, the way that you approach that could be interesting.
Yeah, so Quorum, which Lama's referencing, is like a LGBT organization in the area that I worked with, and several people actually in this group have been a part of, which is a really cool group in that it incorporates a lot of trans and non-binary people, and kind of like any voice part is kind of like whatever goes. So like there's like people of all genders on like every voice part. So yeah, and like I felt like there were some similarities between that and this, where there were instances where like I don't know, this just like took a lot of like the voices that we had in mind into the score, and like who was singing which part, and like said, like the transpositions as well. So yeah.
And it was always about like what you're comfortable with as a person.
Exactly.
Which I think is so important, as people are figuring out their gender identity. Voice is such an intimate and
personal.
such an intimate personal thing, and to have the control be given to you and just be told like go with what you're comfortable with, I think it's just a really important like type of agency that it's just great to be able to explore that as an artist too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of in any production that you're a part of, whether the part is written for the gender you are choosing for yourself, I think transpositions are kind of expected and normal in a lot of ways, and as we are becoming more inclusive in casting, it's just like another thing that is normal.
Yeah.
I think that actually depends a lot of context, and I was having this conversation with somebody earlier too, but in community theater, which is mostly where I come from, the ability to transpose is a lot more limited, because it's like, well, we have this printed orchestral score, and we can just like click a key and transpose it. And so often you actually are stuck with a single key, and you sort of, whatever you're doing with the casting, you have to find a voice that fits that.
I mean, I think like that for me, like I think about when I'm publishing this, I want to just kind of try to have different options for different keys given to people so that we can avoid that kind of problem, because it is definitely an issue. And I think that that's one way to avoid it, is just to have those different options, and they would have to be orchestrated differently, each one, because it's the other issue that you run into when you transpose is that sometimes you're going lower than one of the instruments can go.
Crazy town.
Right. But that is something that can happen. So a lot of times you do have to reorchestrate them. So I think that like having those options when this is finally published, I think would give people a chance to feel like they don't have to do that extra work, and they don't have to find someone who has the skills to do that extra work. They can just choose the key that works for them.
It's in the structure of the thing. It's structured, and it makes individuality to the production and the person singing it accessible, which is huge for live theater. Huge.
Absolutely. Any other questions from anybody else? Sure.
I'm curious as to anyone's thoughts on, we talk about this all the time here, casting regarding if someone such as Oliver has like she, her pronouns, playing a character who has he, him pronouns, or a person who happens to identify as gay playing a straight person, vice versa. Just anyone's thoughts on this subject.
Oh, go off.
I just directed a production where we did completely gender-blind casting, and it was High School Musical. It was so it was like everybody knows the story, so it's like why not at this point play with that. So what Eliza and I did in casting it is we just looked for the essence of the character in person, and it was like that was it, and like whatever that we adjusted the pronouns if we found it was necessary. So like for Sharpay's brother Ryan, we made it into a sister-sister relationship because that's more it's got a different energy to it. So every choice we made changing the pronoun was with a purpose behind it. We didn't change it if we didn't feel like there was a reason. Does that kind of
I so love that. And also, it is like a production, what the production calls for, what the boundaries call for the piece, I think is important. But the essence thing is right, totally right. And I think it's also important if you have the space written in a piece to cast someone who is typically underrepresented, it's your job as the person producing it and the person casting it and being in the room to make sure that you're accurately having that voice in the room and giving that space to someone.
And
I think, it's
and
really
not
important.
having Scarlett Johansson play it.
Like, hello. And that goes for like so many things, you know what I mean? It's like, if you're gonna do a narrative and there's a marginalized identity, like why not take the opportunity to diversify the stage and offer those opportunities to people who otherwise would be discriminated against.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Yeah, because I feel like, people who I'm going to use the word like normative. You know, people have had opportunities their entire lives. There's billions of opportunities for them. So I'm not comfortable with the other way around. Like, you know, if there's a trans character and someone, I don't want it to become, wow, Jared Leto is so good. I don't know why I'm doing movie references because
no, I mean this is a hot topic in media right now.
Yeah, well, I don't want it to become like, wow, he's such a good actor that he can play a trans person. It's like you have a bunch of trans actors who aren't getting opportunities
and who have the experience of a trans person.
Absolutely.
So they understand that experience in a non-performative way.
Exactly.
They understand it in an authentic way that a person who is cis will never understand, no matter how much they read, how much they work, how much they understand the craft. Like, that is just an aspect of the truth of the piece and that person that it's a missed opportunity not to present. You know, and it's frustrating when people revere straight actors for passively playing gay, when someone who is visibly queer often is boxed into, well, if you're not the gay character, I don't think you can do anything else. So it's just being aware of those double standards and asking yourself, like, where is this impulse coming from? And like, why do I think that this is okay?
And I like to think a lot about the audience watching. You know, I think as actors, you know, it's really important for us to have authorship over our own stories and all of that. But it's also really important if there's an audience member, specifically kids or someone who's more vulnerable, to see that there's someone like them on stage or on screen being represented. I think it's such a vital part of feeling like you have a future. You know, there is space for you. There's room for you.
Your story's worth being told and heard. It's huge.
I want to also, so I think I love this question. It is an excellent question and highly relevant. I think a lot of the answers so far have focused a lot on maybe mainstream-ish type of problems. Like if this show went off to some other place where it's not like this little bubble that we've got in Boston that we've created for ourselves, and I think it would be pretty clear for us to insist, like, okay, cast the non-binary characters as non-binary people, cast trans people as trans characters, etc. I'm gonna add a problem that I would like to have more. So one of the things that I've found in media written by queer people is that we love to include people of many different identities. And I am currently producing a podcast that's written by another trans man.
There's more than one.
There's more. Not River. Not River. Anyway, but there are characters. The characters in it are like a cis like sexuality unspecified girl. There's a non-binary person. There is a lesbian and there's a gay man. And one of the things that I'm running into now is, can people of other but related identities play those related identities? So, can a bisexual woman play a lesbian? That's not something that I think, it's not a big problem that we're being faced with a lot right now, unfortunately. I'm not claiming that it is, but just to add to your discourse, like, can a non-binary person play a binary trans person? Can they play a non-binary trans person? Can a trans person? But like when queer people make stuff together, these questions start to come up, and it becomes like we are extremely sensitive to hurting each other, I think, and we very, very much don't want to hurt each other. So it's hard, and I think Evie has things to say about it. Andrea is also.
Okay. I recently did run into an issue like this. I was approached for a play that focused on a Latinx trans girl, and they couldn't find anyone in the community to play this role, so they reached out to me, and I said no, because I don't have this experience. I am not Latinx. I don't identify as trans. I'm intersex. It's kind of for me, it's a different identity. It's a different set of things. It's a different set of rules, and a different set of experiences completely. So I said no, and then they tried to make me do it again. And I think basically what that leads up to is it's all up to a conversation between the actor and the creative team.
Yep.
And there has to be an open channel of communication in order for that stuff to be worked out in a way that everyone is comfortable. but I do think that's how theater should work normally.
10 out of 10.
It just sometimes isn't. It's not like that sometimes. But yes, I feel like that's the most healthy way to deal with it, is to talk about it.
And yet another wrinkle which I know has come up for you as well as me as a director is there's sort of the flip side of do I as a director need to ask people to disclose their sexuality and gender identity and everything to me in order to audition for my show?
Technically it's illegal.
So I was directing a play recently that had a lesbian main character, and it was like, I would like to be representative, but I really don't, like, in some sense your sexuality is not my business unless you care to share that with me.
Right.
And, you know, so it's like, how do you
gauge that?
You know, do both of those things at the same time.
In a professional setting, it's hard. It's hard.
Some people think sexuality is less important, not less important, but like less like brick wall there when it comes to casting, sort of thing. As like gender is like a completely different thing. You know? Because like we can all like know the experience of loving somebody.
Yes, that's real. And I also think that there was the conflation of thinking that sexuality was a performative personality trait for so long. And we are just recently coming to the understanding that that is simply not the case. And your gender, sex, and sexuality aren't related. Weird concept there.
I mean, and yet they all inform our experiences, and they are all things that we can perform.
Right,
as well
precisely.
As
And I think that also in that case, if you run into, I was in a production once where I had to play a lesbian woman. I don't have that personal experience, but having channels of communication with the community and being able to talk to people who have had those experiences. Obviously, I will never be able to fully understand that experience or the experience of being part of that community that's been marginalized so often. But, you know, it's same as you was talking about, it's channels of communication. And making sure that when we tell stories, we're telling stories that are as accurate to the people we are talking about as possible, and that we're cross-referencing and making sure that the stories we're trying to represent are truthful.
Totally.
Okay, so thank you all so much for sticking around. I think that's all the time we have. Thank you for sticking around. And
after the suggestion box.
Yes, suggestion box. Fill out the survey on the back of the program. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Oh my god.
Hi, it's so nice to meet you.